Welcome back to the Pot of Greed, guys.
Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Thanks. You interrupted me.
But it's okay. My job.
Oh, okay. Well, it's another week. Thursday specifically.
Wednesday for us.
Which means that you're getting to tune in to the only podcast on the internet.
We might actually be the only video on the internet at this point. I'm starting to think that we're the only people who do this.
We're getting there. There is some news today. But before we get into all of that, first of all,
put your ones up.
That's right. Ones in the YouTube premiere chat. Hopefully you guys are having a good morning. And hopefully, while I'm saying this, future Paul is live in the chat in the premiere talking to people as well.
And if you're not in the premiere, you can go ahead and throw ones in the comments too. Though I guess if you're going to comment, I guess you say something a bit more substantial.
Something more productive would help. Anyways, though, it is another week, and that means that there is more Yu-Gi-Oh! A fair bit of small Yu-Gi-Oh! Announcements just happened.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Drama.
And then we are also going to be talking about the Anime Awards, which was a thing.
Yeah.
And a little bit of latent kind of video stuff, some Marvel stuff. There's that the Harry Potter casting news. There's things.
And maybe we'll jump down an AI rabbit hole. Maybe not.
There's probably going to be something somewhere at some point. But I suppose we can get started with the Yu-Gi-Oh! So actually last week, we sort of ended off by saying that the Sky Striker Chronicles anime episode 2 was going to be airing. And it did air.
It sure did do that.
It aired. And just as a little quick recap of what this is that we're talking about, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, The Chronicles, is a series of short promotional animated videos that are based on different Yu-Gi-Oh! Lore stories, and we got the Sky Striker one last month, toward the end of April. It was kind of met with lukewarm response, would you say? Is that fair?
I think lukewarm is a nice way to put it, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say total abject disappointment would be more apt, but yeah.
Well, we got episode 2, and it was even shorter than the first one.
Which is impressive, because this one actually had reused footage.
Yeah. So the first one got some flack for being 4 minutes. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, well, how can I forget?
This one's shorter, and it's kind of just I'll have it playing while we talk about it, but it's just a sort of recap, sort of flashback of Ray and Rose fighting, but it's kind of from Rose's perspective. She's saying, I guess, how she felt at the time when this was happening. And then we catch back up to the point in the story that the first episode ended at, which was Ray beat the giant Zeke robot, broke inside of it, rescued Rose, or Rose, I guess.
And now
the robots are attacking them again.
And it ends.
And it ends with them both shouting, engage, and teaming up.
So that is actually technically new, right? The last episode, they didn't both shout, engage. So we got a whole 1.5 second further in that timeline than the last episode.
So it seems like that's kind of it, and that's the Sky Striker story, because next month, I believe, starts the branded one. So,
and I'm not going to lie. When Paul doused me with that cold water, that this was it, I felt every bit of disappointment that I was hoping we would avoid after the first episode.
Go off. Tell me what you thought about what you saw.
I think it's crazy that this was essentially another recap episode, when the last episode was already recapping things we'd seen in the other Sky Striker animations. It added a few moments, and then this one's oh yeah, so we recapped last episode, so now we're going to recap last episode again, but just from another perspective. And sure, you get some voice lines out of Rose. It does show that both she and Ray have a deeper connection than just rivals, or it is not even just a one-sided thing of Ray saving Rose. But I really think this is what the first episode could have been, and then the second episode could have been something new. I think what we all wanted was to finally see something new, and we didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I think that, I remember last week, I think was when you said this, that this episode needed to be good for just the sake of kind of any interest in these things, in these Chronicle things. I don't think it really hit that bar. I still think people are going to be more interested in the Albaz White story, just because fundamentally, I think it is a more interesting story, and I hope that maybe they're doing something a little different with that. But this does not give me much hope.
Sadly, I think that given that there's so much more to work with the Albaz story, I feel like that just means that they have more room to let us down.
Yeah, I fear that what's really happening with a lot of these is that they're being too vague about everything. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and their lore and artwork already has this problem where like there's no flavor text on cards. So you just kind of look at the art and piece the story together yourself, and then eventually Japan will release one of those like Master Book EX, whatever.
Valuable books.
The valuable books where they kind of give some backstory in the archetypes eventually, and that doesn't even actually come to the West. So you just have to find people who will translate
Wait for translations.
And so it's just like we already could tell from looking at the cards that Ray and Rose are kind of rivals to friends relationship, right? So why are we like, we know that like that's something you can kind of gather, but all of these episodes are doing is just, I guess, re-highlighting that, just sort of saying like, yeah, they were fighting, then they weren't, and now they're kind of teaming up, and it's like, okay, but like why, what's the society they live in, what's the context? And I might be just asking for too much because I know that these are supposed to be promotional, so it's just like show the monsters kind of doing a thing, but I don't even know that it's really doing that. Like they're just whatever.
I don't know. I feel like we got more of the monsters doing a thing in the Master Duel Sky Striker videos than we actually got with the Chronicles.
Yeah.
I think there were more action shots of Rey in her different forms. I think while I still think these were better animated, I don't think they actually were anywhere near as satisfying, though. We asked for more context, and with Sky Striker, that was a really low bar to hit since the Sky Striker cards told virtually no story at all.
Yeah, it just didn't, nothing was here. It feels empty.
Like, they didn't even bother naming the thing they were fighting against.
Which is really strange. You think they would at least find some way of like conveying what that is, but it's okay though, Alec, because at the end, they both said engage. And so that's a card that you play in Sky Strikers.
I thought we were gonna see, because you know that last Ray Link monster, what's it called? Sky Striker Ace. I forget the name of it, but that new one that's not out in the TCG yet. But there's a new one, and she has like a blue and a red eye in that card artwork. So I was like, okay, that's what's coming next. And so when the episode ended right there.
And seemingly we're not getting any more, at least not in the immediate future. So
I know I felt so frustrated because I was like, we were so close to finally seeing something.
That's the thing. It's always about like this tantalization thing. Like it's a tease, but you just never get anything. Well, anyway, next story. So TCG has announced Doom of Dimensions, which is the next mainline set to come after Duelist Advance.
DDDs.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit already, but this is the TCG formally saying it. Doom of Dimensions is going to be coming out on so this is actually like weird. September 25th. Now, that might not sound strange to you.
It doesn't.
But it's the last set of the year, the last mainline set, and it's coming out in September.
Wait.
Yeah, because Duelist Advance actually comes out like early July. And so basically like this is sort of similar to last year, but like moved up another like week or two. So the sneak peeks, I was looking into this, the sneak peeks for Duelist Advance are at the end of June, like June 29th and 30th. And then this comes out on September 25th, which means that like the sneak peeks for it will, I guess, be like on the 18th or whatever.
And then no main sets until 2026?
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll still be like some side set for the fall and maybe, you know, whatever the next deck builder set. Like there will be other things. It feels like the schedule's getting moved up really fast.
Are we still getting the same amount of main sets per year, or is that decreased?
Still getting four. Still getting four. It's all the same. It's just like it just seems like the schedule is just.
I wonder what that's about. That feels so weird because I remember last year that break between the last set of 2024 and the first set of 2025.
Yeah, and Supreme Darkness, it felt
long. So long. I was like, oh my God, I can't stand. I was starting to hate the game purely from a stagnation point of view.
Because you're being held back from like a thing that you know is in the next set or something. So it made me wonder, like, do you think like this is like maybe they're planning on changing something in 2026, and they're just kind of like trying to get these shift the calendar around, or maybe it just kind of landed this way.
It's weird since at least Western marketing wise, you would think you're a toy company, right? Card games are still in like the toy segment. You want to have something on sale for the holidays. That's when the most sales happen. But for the last main set to come out in September,
I know
we're not being very ambitious with December at all.
Well, anyway, Declan's DDD deck from the Yu-Gi-Oh Arc 5 anime steals the show. Expect cards so dastardly they'll demolish the defining divisions of the different dueling dimensions.
Oh, they went ham. I respect that.
A little alliteration.
I respect that.
Dueling Dimensions contains 10 secrets, 14 ultras, 26 supers, 50 commons, and then 25 cards are also available as Starlight Rares, not QCRs.
I wanted to say quarter century so bad.
Yeah, so the Starlights are taking the place of the QCRs with the same general frequency. I heard through the grapevine somewhere that like apparently the reason they're doing Starlight at this frequency or whatever is maybe something to do with like just the foiling, like having leftover foiling from when they did the QCRs, and so now like they're just who knows if that's true, but it's something I heard. Anyway, cool. Next thing is that we got the reveal of a new OCG exclusive product. Of course, we don't get this in the TCG.
We never get the
This
fun
is
stuff.
the Deluxe Duel Set Exo Sister, which is set to release August 23rd, 2025. And it's a premium set that's going to feature a new illustration of Exo Sister Michaelis in Prismatic Secret Rare, a storage box, card sleeves, a dice, a coin, a game mat, and more for what is basically the equivalent of about $70 US. So you can see they've got this cool mat. It's like the OCG slightly mini size, but not fully mini size mat is kind of how it looks.
Yeah, it definitely looks smaller than the average TCG mat, that's for sure.
And yeah, you know, you can see this die. It's kind of like sparkly, looks like a snow
a fat
globe
studio
kind of
dice
effect
on it.
Yeah, there it is right there. And Exo Sister Michaelis coin or like sort of token reminds me a little bit of Pokemon, but I assume this might be like
it's a flip coin.
Yeah, maybe it's a little metallic. And of course, you get this like framed new Michaelis art that I can't quite make out from here, and sleeves, and this really nice looking deck box. And it seems like the way that the deck box works is like this little part of it that slides out where you would keep your dice. You can flip that open, and they actually show in the promotional art that you can put your phone there to use Yu-Gi-Oh Neuron.
Oh, and you can display the life points for both you and your opponent.
Yeah, and then also there's like a
or you can watch TikToks while playing.
Yeah. What world we live in where people are just watching TikToks like while they duel. Like your opponent's turn takes
I've
too long.
had someone do that.
So you're just like watching TikToks.
I had he's a very skilled Yu-Gi-Oh player. I could not hold his attention while taking my turn, and he just started watching TikToks.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't feel bad. My turn was taking a while, but I did notice.
Yeah, cool box. It's got them on it. A bag, I think you just kind of carry everything in. And yeah, it's just like, okay, that's the Michaelis, like in the Prismatic Secret Rarity. Oh, that looks like the same art. So anyway, what do you think of this? I think this is really neat.
I mean, X sisters are cool or whatever. You know, it's people like that. That's dope, I guess. I mean, I just need Konami to make more things that I like. Where are the Ancient Gear products, Konami?
I think what it highlighted for me was just that, like, we don't get any of this shit in the TCG. Like,
No.
why aren't we doing... Because you know what? What company is doing this is, like, Mana Moon.
Yeah.
Like, the kind of sleeves, accessories, mats, like, deck box company or whatever, with a Mandala Palm. They do this. Like, whenever they'll do, like, a set. Like, I remember when they were doing the Zodiac set and the Orcus set and whatever. And it'll just be, like, a mat and a deck box and, like, dice and all this stuff. And, like, they sell it as a package. And, like... They're pricey, and you have to like kind of pre-order them and stuff, so that can be a bit of a thing. But like the fact that in Japan, Konami is just sort of like, here you go. Like if you're a fan of this deck, because this won't be the only one of these they do. I'm sure that next will be something different. Like, they'll probably do like Heroes or something.
The standard
soon.
for introducing a new product in Japan is so much lower than it is in the States. I don't know how how decision making works exactly out here. But it just feels like Konami is not at all interested in making unique accessories that actually would cost them something to make.
I mean, they have been doing, you know, like these mats and the deck box things with the sleeves, and they kind of sell them separately. But it feels like they're never giving us
Print one a year.
Well, they print like 2 a year.
Oh, okay.
But here's the difference though. This feels deliberate. Like this is like, okay, it's catering to a fan of this deck, and you're getting like a full package bundled deal. Is it expensive? Yes and no. Because like $70 for something that feels so exclusive. Like it's kind of, it's like, you know, it's not for you if you don't like Exo Sisters, and that's fine. But if you do, you're getting treated really well. And I guess I'd like to see something like this in the TCG. But when have we not said that about like OCG products? Another quick reminder that Figgies, the new Yu-Gi-Oh product that's been announced.
Figgies.
It's coming out soon. The reason I'm saying this is because Yu-Gi-Oh News TCG did post about it, and we talked about it on the podcast before.
It's not a sponsored thing.
Not a sponsored thing, but
we did do a sponsored thing. But this is separate.
So this is a Figgies. This is a Dark Magician one. Here, if you want to hold that, and I'll show them one more. Be careful with it.
No. Yeah, I can take it off the card.
Yeah, and Dark Magician Girl. So it's like kind of metallic, and they do this. They have reversible background and foregrounds. You can sit them up, or you could also maybe put them in your fridge or whatever. And if you want more information on Figgies, because I think they look really nice, we do have a affiliate link in the description. So
actually, my favorite part about the Figgies, and once again, it's not an ad. I'm just re-saying it like it's an ad. My favorite part about these like Figgies is that I can just kind of get a bunch of them, throw them all in a small box, and just take it with me whenever I like change apartments or something. These things are stupid convenient, but they're like fun and good quality.
Yeah. So
just you left the stand.
Oh yeah. So just a little reminder of that. Okay. Next actual announcement of news information. The World Championship Pack 2025 that we talked about last week, they've now revealed everything that comes in the pack.
We
like
didn't
all the
know
different
everything?
cards. Yeah, we only really knew like they were just saying like it's going to celebrate fire versus water, and it's going to have, you know, the cards from that define the past year of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, I guess so.
Well, now there's this image that's got everything that's going to be in it, and so you can see there's like Diabell Star and Poplar.
They got
this is one of the Azaminas, right?
Yeah.
The Azaminas.
That's Arcielago and Silvera.
Yeah, and there's like I think this is like Sangan Summoning and Tenpai Trident Dragion.
Couldn't even begin to tell you what their names are.
A couple other cards. There's like a Memento in there. There's the Fire King Grunix Phoenix form. There's Small Ponix, Neptibus, Ryziels, Malice.
Wow, they did Yubel dirty.
Well,
only
Yubel.
Nightmare Pain?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think that is the only card that they did
crazy.
For that. And then like 3 different Blue Eyes cards.
Wait, where's I guess it's too soon to do a what's his name? Dante from Devil May Cry.
Oh, Fiendsmith Engraver.
Yeah,
I am shocked he's not
Fiendsmith.
included here. Yeah, so that's cool. These are the cards that you can pull in that OTS pack. I still don't even know the full details, but they just say it's available at the World Championship Series event in Paris, and then also at participating official tournament stores.
Will they be like quarter century rare, I wonder?
Well, remember, I think that they come ultra and secret was what they said.
But a lot of those cards already came ultra and or secret.
Yeah, but I guess if you have the one from this pack, it feels a little different. Because I think they also have the
they'll have the stamp on it. Okay,
so
yeah, that does make a difference.
That kind of makes it maybe feel a little more special.
I do agree with that.
So those are some neat little TCG announcements. Next, we move to Master Duel. So Master Duel is like Duel Links, starting its Road to Worlds campaign. I'm sure people have seen a little bit of this.
It's so weird to not be a part of that.
I know, we were part of it for like one of those years, 2023.
I think we did. I think we did it like twice.
Maybe.
At least for like Duel Links, I did it twice.
Yeah, that's true. Well, this year you get a red Supernova Dragon just for logging in, and you can get an icon and some gems and stuff if you log in for 10 straight days. Typical mobile game stuff. They've got a structure deck for Red Dragon, which is fun. One of those decks I like a lot. And also, they have released some new like branded stuff in Master Duel. There's a new Duel Field. It's got new music. I heard it last night. I think it's a bop.
Oh, snap.
But more importantly, I saw these videos that they did where they have been working with athletes again. You might remember this last year.
I remember Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
He plays for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, and so basically they
For now.
went back and did a video with him, and then also Grant Williams, who is an NBA player.
Yes, he
Okay.
plays for the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay. Yeah, so apparently those two are kind of into Yu-Gi-Oh, as it turns out. And so they did more like interviews with them where they just talked about like how they got into Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, them, I think Ryan Hunter as well is the guy's name. I think he's a football player. I feel like his name sounds familiar. Like I think I might have heard of him like entering a YCS
Like
or
you
something
met him
at some
personally.
point. Well, I don't think I
That's
met
my
him.
whole
but-
buddy Ryan. We used to play at locals together.
Yeah, so basically it's these videos where you know, they're Konami sponsored videos or whatever, where Pheromone teaches them how to play a specific deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And it kind of reminded me of the Master Duel deck flexing videos that you and I did
Deck flexing.
year before last.
Yeah, definitely not last year.
Yeah, year before last. And they're neat. What did you think of like them interviewing these football and like basketball players again?
I've said it before. I like the idea of removing the stigma that only like this like fringe group of basement dwelling nerds play and know Yu-Gi-Oh. There's also a fringe group of like athletes who play and know Yu-Gi-Oh. But it just makes it seem a little less weird, but only a little. Not a lot.
I mean, I'll say this. It's a cool way of, like you said, letting people know that, like, anyone can play Yu-Gi-Oh! You might be surprised by the sorts of people that are interested in this game and stuff like that. I'm always reminded when I watch these videos, though, where, like, someone's having to teach Master Duel to, like, an outsider, of just how kind of crazy Yu-Gi-Oh! Can look from the outside, like, kind of just rules-wise and card game design-wise. But they picked Exodia and Blue Eyes as the decks that they were teaching them. And so that's good. They're two, recent anime strategies that aren't too complicated. So,
though I feel like they probably both wanted to play Blue Eyes, and they were like, "Oh, for this series, we need someone to pick something else."
Yeah, my small critique of the videos themselves, and this is just as a content creator mind, I think that the videos are a bit long. They're like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And they could have probably trimmed down, because they do a little intro, and then they teach them about the cards, kind of individually just going card to card and explaining all of them in depth. And sort of, then they go through the deck list. Then they do like 3 duels, I think, at least like 2 or 3 duels. And it's a lot of time. And I think that it could have been crunched down at least like half the time. Maybe
I think
really a little less.
at least for like the overview of them learning the decks, they could have skipped to like the highlights, because what the most important and most impactful cards of those decks are. You could have just gotten their reactions to hearing about these cards for the first time. And you could have gotten like a before statement, an after statement, and then you could have gotten to the duels. Because the duels are essentially tutorials as well. They're not really fast duels. They're kind of taking their time and figuring things out. And because you want to show as much of those duels as possible, then you have to cut time somewhere.
Yeah, so kind of interesting. They sort of just shadow dropped these videos like just a few hours ago when we're recording this. So like they don't seem to really have any fanfare like on social media or any like viewership. That's always one of those things where I think Konami, they have this tendency to do that. Like, I don't know if it's because their approvals processes take so long or what.
I mean, that's my theory, is that every single social media post at Konami has to be approved, even if they're just promotional posts. Like, oh, we dropped a YouTube video. Let's tweet and make an Instagram post about it. No. Each one of those things has like a separate approval process. And so that's why I just don't bother doing it.
Yeah, it's very strict. And I think like it's unfortunate because similar to the Shadow Duelist things that they've been doing, I think that the ideas are very sound and exciting even, but that they really... They should just like lead up to this stuff a bit.
I think their project proposals should take a note from. I mean, a lot of you guys are not like YouTube creators / influencers / losers on the internet like we are, but a lot of times when you're doing these collaborations with these companies, they'll send you like an initial brief, and it'll outline like all like it'll outline what the project is, and then like these deliverables, these social media deliverables, how many posts on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, yada yada yada, that's expected to be a part of this project. And it feels like Konami doesn't have that when they do these projects and when they propose them. They have the project, which is, we're going to show Jamal Williams how to play a Blue Eyes deck. It'll be fun, and we're going to put it on YouTube. But that should also come with, and we're going to make like 2 tweets, an Instagram post from him, and then like and then an Instagram post from us, and that'll be the entire project. You got to tie it together somehow, because no one knows these videos happened, and the whole point, at least I would think the whole point is for
so
their audience can
their
see
fan
this.
bases can see that. I know. It's a shame. And this is coming from 2 people who I'm pretty sure it's inarguable that I want people like to see this stuff and find out about Yu-Gi-Oh! And want to play it. So I think that with these sorts of initiatives, it would be cool to just do some lead-in, some tent polling. But what I mean by tent polling, sorry, it's a very like inside baseball-y term on social media, is basically like, you know, if you think of how like a tent pole would look, like you have to like lead up to the exciting event and then also have like some falling action. So it's like, let their audience know that we're going to be maybe doing like a live stream where they like play on stream on this date, but like there's hype like kind of in the couple weeks leading up to that, and the day of it's really exciting, and then like afterwards there's still some post kind of edited.
It's like in the world of video games where you get the announcement for the announcement, and then you get the announcement, and then after the announcement, pre-orders go live.
Yeah, and there's like the hype, and then it finally launches, and everyone has their thoughts, and it's like a whole thing. But anyway, yeah, that's cool. You guys can maybe have a look, check it out for yourself.
Nowadays, at least in video gaming, I feel that people are so busy giving their thoughts for the initial trailers of a video game, but by the time the game actually launches, people are over it and they're moving on to the next thing.
Your name moves fucking fast, dude.
Because I swear, the last Assassin's Creed game, so much intrigue and interest and controversy leading up to the game's release, when it finally released, people are already just talking about the next thing.
Well, with Assassin's Creed, it was a little different, I think. But I get like generally what you're saying. Because like with Assassin's Creed, the release was like, okay, the game is fine. Like that's what most people seem to agree on. And it was all just about like, are they paying for these reviews or these Steam numbers right now? So it's like people weren't. So it's kind of what you're saying is true. It's like people weren't even talking about the gameplay of it at that point. They were just trying to prove their side. You know, like it's. Whatever.
I wasn't wrong. This game is horrible, and the franchise will fail. You go woke. You go what? That's right. You go back home and save your money.
Yeah, so just kind of an interesting bit. I think that's kind of it for Yu-Gi-Oh! This week. I have not seen or heard too much else as far as I'm aware.
I feel like there's something I saw that we didn't talk about, but if we forgot it, we'll just bring it up next week.
However, there is some interesting news on the TCGplayer front, and this is kind of like serious news.
I mean, we've talked about this once before, right? The relationship between eBay, TCGplayer, and unions. And not the Yu-Gi-Oh mechanic either.
Well, eBay escalates intimidation of union members after closure announcement. A little small bit of background on this. TCGplayer is actually owned by eBay. eBay purchased them a few years ago now. But anyways, security guards deployed by eBay at its Syracuse-based TCGplayer authentication center have created an oppressive atmosphere by physically and verbally harassing employees, according to reports from union workers inside the facility. So on Friday, eBay abruptly announced that it would be closing the authentication center. That's
2022.
Yeah, that's when they bought it?
Yep.
So yeah, as you guys know, like TCGplayer's HQ offices, I'm sure they do lots of different operations there, but one of the things they do is it's like an authentication center for the whole TCGplayer Direct thing, and actually eBay's entire range of like authentications for collectibles and cards and all of that. Well, they're moving from Syracuse to Kentucky is what they announced. And in moving from Syracuse to Kentucky, there are also going to be a lot of employees who are going to be...
They fired virtually everybody.
Fired and let go. I think they said at least 200 people.
Oh, I read 1,000.
Oh, okay. So we probably saw some different sources on that then.
if my source was even correct.
Well, they said, yeah, they announced they're going to be closing the authentication center, terminating the employment of hundreds of TCG Union CWA Local 1123 members in an attempt to evade its bargaining obligations and keep the company non-union. So yes, guys, this is a union political story. Feel free to skip if you just can't be bothered to care. But just minutes after the closure announcement took place, dozens of unidentified security guards entered the building, watching doors, following workers into break rooms, and watching restrooms, and using physical force against workers. Like, yikes. Guards have told workers that they were getting paid hourly to, quote, beat on people, while also using misogynistic language in the office. What are you... Like, huh?
I mean, like, if we go back in, like, American history... You know, there was a time when union busting was really like a hot and popular thing.
Like a very physical activity, it seems. Like they're just like, they're in there.
And like, I just don't care for how these snowflakes are acting like this is like this at the same level, you know? Like, come on now. Like, it's 2025. You're fine. These people, they're not assaulting you. They're just shoving you. They're not insulting you. They're just telling you that you don't matter and you're being fired and you're not going to enjoy your last few weeks here.
Yeah, let me do my obligatory. Alec is kidding. He is being sarcastic. There are people who listen to this podcast and think that Alec is being serious. So here's what they say.
I will be honest, my honest feelings. I think this is all vile. I think it's completely unnecessary to notify a bunch of people that they're being fired, arguably unfairly, just so that you can avoid their bargaining with their union. But then to harass the ever-living shit out of them after you've already fired them, that's some low down.
Yeah, it just feels very like, why? It seems so extra. So here's something. A particularly disturbing report involves an eBay representative physically grabbing and verbally harassing a union member as he attempted to clean out his locker. The eBay representative followed the member from the building, accused him of trespassing, and threatened to call the police. The union member was then placed on administrative leave. That's so... Oh, my God.
I have this feeling that the work culture over there was not great. And I think eBay or the powers that be believed that the workers were going to feel very disgruntled. And it might have, you know, resorted to some, like, espionage on their leaving. So they probably just brought in this security group to just... get them the hell up out there. Just
here's a quote.
Don't let them hang around. Kick them out.
Deploying security guards to stalk us immediately after letting us know that we would all be losing our jobs is psychological warfare, said Zach Freeman, eBay worker and TCG Union CWA Local 1123 member. By unleashing this brutal surveillance and intimidation campaign, TCGplayer and eBay are doing everything in their power to punish us for exercising our federally protected rights to organize. This week's developments further underscore the unfair labor practice charge that the union has filed with the National Labor Relations Board, which alleges that eBay's sudden closure of the authentication center was a calculated move to bust the union and evade contract negotiations with the union after more than 600 days of bargaining. So...
Boy, hey, unions, y'all better pay attention. If it takes 600 days to get that new contract ready...
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
You might want to have to come up with some more plans. I mean, I've been in a few like rough situations when it comes to like unions and corporations. I worked at an airport, and some of the people there were unionizing, but I was new and arguably temporary, so I was kind of not getting involved in all of that. But I did see one week where I want to say half the employees had their little union stickers on, showing that they're a part of the union. They want to be unionized. You know, they support each other. Then 2 people got fired for unknown reasons. I don't know why they got fired. And that next week, all those stickers were gone. Not a single person had their union sticker on anymore.
It's really unfortunate that, you know, unions are seen as so... you know, like there's like such a problem with them. I know that unions aren't perfect. I'm not here to like lecture anybody on whether or not you should necessarily like or dislike them.
But we will lecture on the economics of it all.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like just hearing that employees being harassed. Like, it's bad enough they lost their jobs. suddenly and abruptly, why do you also have to go the extra mile and, harass them?
I mean, I'm telling you, some people, when they are unjustly treated, they take more drastic actions in response. And so eBay want to make sure that while they're screwing those people, that they didn't get screwed back. So they kick them out.
So to zoom out a little bit on this and relate it back to just what it means for us as card gamers, because I know for some people
That's
that are
true.
hearing this,
We might lose the plot here.
yeah, we might be like, we're getting all political and talking about unions and stuff. These are still people who are like helping to fulfill, your card game orders, right? You ordered some sealed product, especially if it's from TCGplayer Direct or something, or anything that you got on eBay that like had that little authentication tag on it.
I mean, these were the people authenticators.
Yeah, these are the people that were like working on that. And all of them, because I know some people who work, or I guess worked at TCGplayer, and these are not like, just corporate bigwig types that I know. Like these are people who are like on the ground. They like card games. They like board games. They like collectibles. They like their jobs. They're regular people. And so, I've seen some people in backlash and retaliation are basically like, canceling TCGplayer Plus subscriptions or TCGplayer Direct subscriptions, just boycotting, not ordering from TCGplayer.
Oh, we're going back to Trolling Toad's website.
I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. You have to kind of decide for yourself if this is the sort of thing that you care about. Too much is going on in the world right now for me to be bothered trying to like tell people how to act.
Though somehow people are still managing to boycott Target.
Yeah. So I'll just say this much. Remember that this is at least a case of fellow card game enthusiasts who were passionate workers
Getting
being
screwed
mistreated.
by the man.
And yes, and so, choose how you want to take that information accordingly. Maybe it means nothing to you. Hopefully it does, but that's...
I will say that, the TCGplayer crew in Syracuse they were pretty good at the whole authentication system. They had a system in place. They knew how it worked. When your cards moved through TCGplayer, if it had that stamp of approval, it meant something. It meant safety. It meant reliability. Firing all those people who built up years of experience and knowledge, and now they're going to pack up and start a new one. I do have to question just how reliable this new TCGplayer
might
be.
Fulfillment center might look. Yeah. So interesting thing. I'm intrigued to hear people's comments. I'm not going to pretend to know everything about this story, by the way. Like,
we will invite the leaders of TCGplayer onto our podcast, and then they can speak with us and all of you, and we can find out.
Come and argue, and it'll be great, and get a few views from it. No, but read up on it yourself, form some opinions. Don't just take my word for it. But yeah, that's card game. That kind of affects all of us card game
sounds
people.
like a Yu-Gi-Oh card name.
I know, because there's Union Driver, there's
Union Buster,
Union Hanger.
And it has a picture of TCGplayer.
That'd actually be kind of funny. Not to make light of the situation, but it would just be
this
funny.
is serious, and we have a serious problem with this.
So yeah. Anywho, that's that. Any other card game news? I don't think I was able to find too much else.
I got nothing.
Well, that's fine, actually, because now we can talk about the Anime Awards.
Whoop. I missed the Anime Awards, so you're going to have to educate me as well.
Actually, I missed them too.
Oh, okay.
But these are the Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2025, and we're just going to go through all the winners in the different categories. This did happen, and I was kind of excited about it. Not excited enough to watch it, clearly, because I didn't. But excited.
Jesus, Paul.
What?
That was just so honest and telling.
But I always like to look at these kind of just things retroactively. Because, how those award shows on the internet go. Like, they're just filled with the brim with ads and, and the nominees are blah, 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 blah.
Because it happens and then it disappears.
Yeah, and it's always kind of weird, too, because these are, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards 2025, but, these are all anime that came out last year.
And they also have to be only anime that were on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, so, it's a little bit, is this, how accurate is this really? But anyway, we are big anime fans here at the Pod of Greed, so we are the authority figures on these things.
Sure. I mean, we do watch a lot. I think Paul's a pretty good authority on it since he went from watching like literally zero anime to watching like hundreds of anime every year.
I think like every year I watch like at least like maybe 50, huh?
It has to be at least 50.
I watch about like 10 anime a season, so probably close to 40 a year.
At least.
Well, anyways, anime of the year. Here are the nominees. Don Da Don.
Fair.
Delicious in Dungeon.
I heard good things.
Frieren, Beyond Journey's End.
Oh, God.
Kaiju number 8.
Fire.
Solo Leveling.
Pretty
and
good.
The Apothecary Diaries.
Ooh, I heard good things about that one, too.
So I'll just say up front, I've only watched Don Da Don, Kaiju number 8, and Solo Leveling of these. I've heard good things about all 6 of them, however.
And I've watched all of those, but also Frieren.
Well, that was on the list too. Are you saying?
No, I watched all the ones you watched.
Okay, gotcha.
Though I haven't watched Delicious in Dungeon or The Apothecary Diaries.
So, what do you think won?
It's hard for me to say what other people would vote for, so I'll say what I would have voted for.
Yeah, well, that's actually a better question. What would you have voted for of those?
And
6?
While Kaiju number 8 is of that list, would have been my favorite manga, I think my favorite anime on that list is Frieren.
Okay, so I have not seen Frieren. I know my sister saw it too, and she loved it. And I've heard very good things.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I get the feeling I need to just go back and watch it because, like, I think
it's worth it.
So good.
It is not a waste of your time.
Okay, I do want to watch that. Then I would say my favorite of them was probably Kaiju number 8. Although Don Da Don was also a pretty good time.
I think if Frieren weren't there, Don Da Don would be my pick. I would never put Kaiju number 8 there, just because I still feel like the manga has been better than the anime. But that's a me thing.
Yeah. Well, Solo Leveling won.
Oh.
Here's the weird part about this, though. So I'm not terribly surprised to hear that Solo Leveling won because season 2 just kind of recently finished airing and people liked it. The thing is, though, the Solo Leveling that won was Solo Leveling season 1, not season 2. Because season 1 was popular. Yeah. Season 2 was very popular.
Season 2 went crazy.
That's when everybody started talking about like Jinwoo and Aura and
Aura.
Main character energy and all these things. I found Solo Leveling season 1 to be it's weird. I'm gonna say this and people are gonna think I'm being a hater. I watched all of it every week because that's what I do with anime. So I'm coming from a place of I enjoyed it as a product. I just thought it was kind of generic. I just didn't find anything. It was well animated and it was cool, but just the main character and the world is cool, but just none of the other characters seem like they matter.
It's interesting. I think season 1 was fine. I just don't think it was better than most of the anime on that list.
Neither do I. I think
if we're including season 2, then it becomes very competitive.
I think if season 2 is included, for sure, I think Solo Leveling, fair enough. You could say that was anime of the year.
Point. But not season 1.
Yeah, I think season 1 alone was just fine. Just fine. I would have probably picked, it sounds like probably Frieren from what I'm hearing from people, but if I just had to personally pick, I'd say Kaiju number 8. I think that within the 12 episodes or whatever that we got of it, it literally told a better arcing story. It had something to say about, this guy and he's he's 30 or whatever, over the hill, and he ends up, still getting into the Kaiju Defense Force. And
I love him being
I don't know. I just thought that more went on there. Anywho, though, film of the year.
Oh, I don't know if I watched many films last year.
So Haikyuu, the dumpster battle. That's one that we saw.
Okay, I did see that.
Look Back.
Did not see that.
Mononoke, the movie, The Phantom of the Rain. My Hero Academia, You're Next. I watched that.
Did I see that?
I don't think you did.
Who's in that one?
I mean, the My Hero characters. There's the fake evil All Might guy.
Nope, didn't see it.
Spy Family, Code White, and The Colors Within. I meant to see Code White, and I never did.
I didn't see that one either. Wow, I only saw one of the movies on this list.
I've seen 2. Yeah, Haikyuu and My Hero. The winner was Look Back.
I literally don't even know what Look Back
can't really
is.
say too much about it. I didn't watch it. It sounds cool though.
Anime movies, it's always hit or miss with me Because sometimes I just don't know they're happening.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing with anime movies is sometimes they just come out. It gets weird because an anime movie will get announced and then like obviously it'll come out in Japan on one date and like rarely do they come out globally at the same, like universally at the same time. Sometimes like it'll come out in Japan and then like it's not coming out in U.S. theaters for another like 4 to 6 months or something. And by that time you just kind of forgotten it existed. Because like I think isn't the Jujutsu Kaisen movie is that coming out this year? There's a second one.
Sure.
I just don't know.
I have no clue.
Well, anywho, best continuing series. Here's what the nominees
Well,
were.
wait a minute. We have a best... so Solo Leveling gets to be nominated for best anime and best continuing series?
I never said it.
Yeah, but of course it's going to be on the list.
Well, no, it's stuff from 2024, so it couldn't be.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, anime just got a new season in 2024.
So that it'll be like 2023 to 2024.
Well, no, it could be something from like stuff like Demon Slayer's on here, and that's from like 2019. So it's anything that got a new season that aired in 2024.
Literally anything. Okay.
So there's Bleach, Demon Slayer.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, Bleach, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Oshinoko, and Spy Family.
Oh, Jesus.
Which I got to say, that's
such an unfair list.
How do you mean?
So, like, One Piece and Bleach are two, like, really big anime, but, like, they're technically from, like, a different decade.
Decades old. If I had to pick a winner of this, like, based on the continuation season that they got last year, that's what we're going to be going off of.
Give me the list again.
Bleach, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Oshinoko, and Spy Family.
Okay, I made my choice.
Okay, what's your choice?
Oshinoko.
I would pick... Yeah, probably Oshinoko, like as a personal favorite of mine.
I didn't dislike 1,000 Year Blood War for Bleach. I didn't dislike most of the anime. I didn't watch any One Piece, so that doesn't count. But I don't know. I just feel like that was the season of anime that I found most satisfying.
Well, the winner was Demon Slayer, which is a little odd to me because it was the Hashira training arc, and I found that arc very boring.
I actually really loved that arc.
It was fun for like character
favorite.
building, but I just didn't think that it would be like the sort of thing that would be like winning like a category
like
material.
My favorite seasons of Demon Slayer go season 1, Hashira training arc.
Really?
In that order.
What about the other seasons? They're just all trash.
Trash, garbage.
Okay.
Like I love those two.
Okay. Well, what about Oshinoko? Do you think like that's like better even?
Oh yeah, it knocked out the park. I mean, Oshinoko's blend of the Japanese entertainment industry with this kind of murder mystery, timey-wimey nonsense, and the teen angst with like the revenge plot line.
Yeah,
oh man,
romance in there. I like Oshinoko. Like for people who haven't watched it, I'll just say, just fucking watch this shit. It's good.
And if you were ever like an artsy kid, like you did theater or anything, dance, Oshinoko is so fire.
Yeah, great intros, great outros. All of these were good though. I like the Hashira training arc fine. I like My Hero season 6. I like Spy Family. Man, they were all good. Okay, best new series. Now I hate this. Like, do you remember when we talked about the Game Awards? And there's like 2 categories that were very similar to this. Where there was like Game of the Year, and then like best developed game or something. It was like 2 very similar categories. Yeah, this is best new series, and here are the candidates: Dandadan, Delicious in Dungeon, Free Reign, Kaiju Number 8, Solo Leveling, and The Apothecary Diaries. Which I think is the same 6 ones.
Something's not quite right there, but
and
okay.
Solo Leveling won it. So I just don't know what the point of the...
I really feel like and I hate to use this phrase, glazing on Solo Leveling is out of fucking hand. Jesus Christ.
I just don't really understand why they had 2 categories like this. Like, it's the same 6 candidates, and it's best new series, and then Anime of the Year had to be a series that, like, I assume had to have debuted in 2024 or something.
Well, I mean, then again, I feel like Anime of the Year should be any anime on this entire list should be able to be in contention for Anime of the Year.
Well, anyway, here's best original anime.
Okay.
Now, by original
that
anime,
means no source material.
there was no manga, no source material. Buchigiri, that's something we watched.
Yeah.
Girls Band Cry. I think I'd wanted to watch this maybe, and I just didn't end up watching it.
I don't even remember that. Was that even on Crunchyroll?
Maybe, I don't know. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night.
I remember that. Didn't like it. Or I didn't like the first episode.
Metallic Rouge. That's what we watched. I like Metallic Rouge.
I like Metallic Rouge.
Ninja Kamui.
Alex watched that one.
And Trained the End of the World. So, any major feelings on these candidates? Any of them that stick out to you?
Okay. Give me the list one more time.
Buchigiri.
Okay.
Girls Band Cry. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Metallic Rouge. Ninja Kamui. And Trained to the End of the World.
So, sadly on that list, I really only watched 2 of them.
Yeah, same. I watched Metallic Rouge and Buchigiri.
And of the 2 of them, I feel like Metallic Rouge was better in the moment, but I think I ended up talking about Buchigiri more.
I think Metallic Rouge felt like it was very, it had something to say about,
I think it was objectively better than Buchigiri.
Yeah, I think it had something to say about like kind of identity, sort of free will and agency and stuff.
Sick animation.
Yeah, really well animated. I liked the kind of little duo, the 2 girls that are the main characters. I thought it was really good. Memorable, maybe not, but like certainly good.
I think the reason why Buchigiri, at least for me, becomes more memorable is because it was kind of just nonsense.
Yeah, Buchigiri is like
this weird like homoerotic genies that help like teenage boys fight better.
My thing with Buchigiri, I remember, is like I thought it was one thing and just was a different thing.
Yeah, going into it, I thought okay, it's gonna be like a vaguely homoerotic like delinquent story.
Kind of gang fighting thing,
and then
it sort of is that for the first half of it, but then like the second half is just not that.
No,
and it's not even that it's bad. It's just 2 totally different stories.
It's tonal whiplash, but it doesn't try to take itself very seriously.
It's weird. I remember it had
colorful nonsense.
Yeah, I remember it had well animated fights. That was one thing I did like about it. Is the fights were good. There was like one episode where the main character fights the guy with the whip or whatever, beats his ass. It was very well animated.
They have, and cool character designs.
Yeah, the character designs were really cool. Like the green haired guy, the blue haired guy. Now the problem I think is that it kind of just ends up being like the green haired guy, the blue haired guy, because I don't remember like much about them since they weren't.
I described them as fighting game characters. Like
they weren't
one
like
guy
fleshed
was
out a bunch.
Akuma from Street Fighter.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, I remember I liked both of the anime. I think if I had to pick between those 2, I'd probably give it to Metallic Rouge. But I think you should probably try like Buchigiri and really anything on this list. Like if it's an original anime, I'm usually willing to give those like just more credit because like it's hard to find an audience for those sorts of shows sometimes.
I mean, it's all about your visual aesthetic in anime. I remember like Train to End of the World. I just wasn't gonna click on it because it just seemed like one of those like cute girls doing cute thing anime.
Yeah, but sometimes those can surprise you. Like remember Bocchi the Rock?
Yeah,
I remember with Bocchi the Rock, like it ended up being really great, but from the outside, it just looks like it's like a cute girlsy anime that just might not be my genre. Not saying that that's bad, but just like not.
Sometimes you have to give like anime a chance to surprise you. Then sometimes you don't want to give it that chance.
Okay, well here's best animation. Can you guess the 6 nominees?
Is it the same 6 from Anime of the Year?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Dandadan, Delicious in Dungeon, Demon Slayer. Well, not exactly the same because Demon Slayer's in here. Free Reign, Kaiju number 8, and Solo Leveling. So basically, they just replaced what?
What Delicious in Dungeon?
They replaced the Apothecary Diaries with Demon Slayer.
Wow, Apothecary Diaries. I mean, from the art I've seen, it looks pretty good, but I guess not. Maybe its animation doesn't hold up.
So which one of these you think should get best animation?
So there's no way Solo Leveling takes the animation category here, right? I feel like.
I mean, it looked nice. It was a well animated.
It looked fine. I just feel like the other anime here are like at least at that same level, if not better.
If I had to give it to one from what I've seen, I'm saying Dandadan. I thought Dandadan was like just all like every episode just looked so like There's so much visual flourish in the intro and in like the fight choreography. I thought it was.
If we're talking fight animation, like Solo Leveling can't beat out Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer won.
Okay.
In best animation.
At least so something was able to beat Solo Leveling.
The only gripe I think I have with that, if I'm remembering the Hashira training arc correctly, is it didn't actually have many fights.
But they were animated
well. But the
well.
fight was that one of the very last episode of the season was very like well done. That was like the only one. So.
Well, no, they also had the fight against like the water guy that tracked Tomioka in the water. And
no, that wasn't that season.
Was that not the same season?
Yeah, that was not it. That was so you might be thinking of that's the Smith arc, like the
you're right, the Swordsmith Village arc.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
still that well animated though.
Anyway, yeah, I mean I like Demon Slayer. I know there's sometimes some controversy about like whether or not it's good or bad animation because some people say that they just spray a bunch of effects and bright colors and lights and it tricks you into thinking it's good animation, but I actually think it looks good.
I think animation without colors and lights probably doesn't look as good.
I mean, I think if there's one thing I've learned from watching anime, it's just that there are literally just different animation styles that can all look really good.
Exactly. I keep telling people, like the last season of Blue Lock's animation was actually peak.
Okay. Now listen, that's gonna be a tough one to sell. But yeah, like I don't know, because there's like kind of that Jujutsu Kaisen sort of brand of animation, and there's like the Demon Slayer brand of animation.
Rapid perspective changes with like 3-dimensional animation.
Next one is best character design. So our nominees are Dandadan, Delicious in Dungeon, Demon Slayer, Free Reign, Kaiju number 8, and The Apothecary Diaries.
I feel like if we're going to do character design, you should have to actually say what character we're basing this off of.
I guess it's like a holistic look at just how this anime does character design.
Jesus.
Which, if that's the case, and I know like I'm willing to admit I have not watched some of the things on this list, but I actually feel like they need to get slightly more creative with these because I get that it is anime of the year, and so like those 5 or 6 anime are going to end up in a lot of categories. But I think that they should try to get more creative because, like, we were just talking about how like Buchigiri had really unique character designs. Was it a great anime? Not really. But the character designs were like unique, if nothing else. And yes, it's like an original anime. It doesn't have a manga, so it probably didn't get like a lot of viewership or whatever. But like, I'd say it had more interesting character design than like fucking like. Does Demon Slayer belong on this list? Like, it's been out for like 6 years. I mean, we know.
And how do you even define character design necessarily? Like, is it their fashion? Is it just how colorful they are? Do they have to look diverse? Because, like, does that mean an anime, like, let's go back to, like, Love is War, can it not win because most of them all just wear their school uniforms?
Exactly, yeah. Well, what do you think won?
Oh, man. I feel like maybe they finally gave one to Apothecary Diaries.
Dandadan.
Okay, never mind. Apothecary Diaries, I think getting shut out this award season.
Which, like, fair. I mean, Dandadan had good character designs, I guess.
No, I think they were good. I don't know if they were better than anyone else's because I really don't know how to describe character design, and I don't know what you're actually looking for.
I guess if we watched it, maybe they go into more detail on what that means. But anyway, best director.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know very much about these, but Frieren Beyond Journey's End director Keiichiro Saito won.
Yeah, at least Frieren got something.
Which is good. Best background art.
Background art? So that's just what's happening in the background of scenes? Ooh, that's...
Like, I guess just the scenery and stuff that they're in. I'll start going a little faster through these because I know these kind of get more like...
I mean, I'm assuming this one's finally Apothecary Diaries?
Frieren.
Okay, never mind.
Art. Best romance anime.
Apothecary Diaries.
That's not even in them. Surprisingly, I didn't watch like.
I don't know if I watched any romance.
Okay,
what's the list?
A Sign of Affection.
Didn't see it.
Blue Box.
I love that the manga. I didn't watch the anime.
McCain. Too Many Losing Heroines.
Oh, I did watch that one.
Ranma 1/2. I meant to watch the Ranma 1/2.
Oh, that was the reboot. I didn't watch the reboot.
Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. That's interesting to see in here.
Oh, we're considering that anime. Oh, I'm happy for us.
I mean, it's a romance anime for sure. The Dangers in My Heart, Season 2. So
I didn't watch Season 2. Only saw Season 1.
Of these that you watched, what are your thoughts? You can share while I close this window and get the light out of my face.
I only read the Blue Box manga, but that has to, for me, that's going to be my favorite. I just love Blue Box.
Yeah, it won.
Yay!
Yeah, Blue Box won that. I remember I did watch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And it was good. It didn't feel like that much of a romance thing, but I guess in hindsight, that's exactly what it was. It was just, yeah, so cool. The girl and her like 7 evil boyfriends or whatever, evil exes.
Her evil exes.
Best comedy anime: Delicious in Dungeon, Konosuba 3, season 3, Mashal, My Dear Friend Nokotan, Ranma 1/2, and Spy Family season 2.
All right, so I only saw 2 of those anime.
I'm picking Mashal. I think Mashal's hilarious.
Yeah, I've only saw Mashal and Spy Family, and so I'm also going. Actually, you know what? I'm going with the Spy Family.
The winner
I actually just love Spy Family.
The winner was Mashal.
Yay!
But I think that both would be deserving in my eyes. Spy Family is a great, easy recommend, and Mashal is just funny nonsense.
That was season 2 of Mashal?
Season 2.
Yeah.
With Creepy Nuts intro. So, best action anime was Solo Leveling. I'm just skipping the nominees because you know exactly what they are. Although Windbreaker was on there.
And it lost to Solo Leveling. I mean, honestly, that's the category I expected Solo Leveling to win, hands down.
Which is funny because, like, I sometimes think when I see these awards, I guess it's like they're meant to be a way of sometimes showing people anime that they hadn't, like exposing them to anime they maybe hadn't heard about at first. People should watch Windbreaker, particularly like season 1. If you just want like a good little fighting action, like
just teenagers settling it in the streets.
Yeah, it's really good for that. So,
and then they grow as people.
Best Isekai: Konosuba, Mushoku Tensei season 2 part 2, ReZero season 3, Shangri-La Frontier season 2.
I didn't watch Shangri-La.
Suicide Squad Isekai, and
I like that, but it shouldn't.
Reincarnated as a Slime season 3.
I love that one too, but I still think I forgot the one I said was the best. I watched all of those except for one, essentially. Except for Shangri-La Frontier. I watched all the Isekai. Leave me alone.
ReZero won.
Yay! Which it was kind of the favorite to win.
I like Mushoku Tensei.
Mushoku Tensei is really good.
That last core was very good. Tragic, but good. Best drama.
I do like some dramatic anime.
Pluto, Apothecary Diaries, Oshinoko, Frieren, Dead Demons, DDDD Destruction, and A Sign of Affection.
I feel like that's a really tough one to call.
It went to Frieren.
Yay.
Best Slice of Life. I did not watch I don't think I watched any of this. But Laid Back Camp, Ma Caney, Too Many Losing Heroines.
I like that one.
Mr. Villain's Day Off, My Dear Friend Nokotan, Sound, Euphonium 3, and The Dangers in My Heart season 2.
Didn't watch season 2. So I guess I can only give it to the one I watched.
Yeah, it was McCaney, Too Many Losing Heroines.
That was a fun one.
Best Main Character. So this is an interesting one. Frieren from Frieren. Hibino Kafka from Kaiju number 8.
Oh, my boy.
Okaroon from Dawn to Dawn.
He's pretty good.
Momo from Dawn to Dawn.
Wow, doubles. Okay.
Mao Mao from The Apothecary Diaries, and Sung Jinwoo from Solo Leveling.
The choice is obvious for me. It's it's Kafka. Kafka's my favorite main character of all of them.
Well, Jinwoo won. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, best supporting.
He's okay. No, okay. I'm stopping this right now.
Actually, okay. I'm ready to stop this too because I feel like the rest of these get so niche that it's.
How in the absolute hell can anyone say Jinwoo is a great character? Like, sure, Jinwoo is cool.
There goes our main camera.
We don't care about that camera.
Anyway.
Sure, Jinwoo is cool. Sure, he's strong. You could say he has aura, wherever the hell that means. But he is boring. He is so incredibly boring. I would have rathered any other character on that list get it just because all the rest of them have something interesting about them. He's just, I want to help my mom, so I get strong. I get strong so I can help my mom. My mom is helped. Okay, now I get strong so I can be strong. That's his whole character.
Yeah, I think that he's just too much of a effortless badass for me. I don't really care for those kinds of characters. I want them to overcome something, and I never really got sold on the idea that Jinwoo's actually overcoming anything. He operates on a different power system than the rest of the world he lives in, and he's just OP. And he always wins. to this point in the anime, and maybe this changes in the manga, but I somehow doubt it, is he just beats people. Like they throw terrifying, huge monsters and cocky, big egoed other people in front of him, but he still just beats them and doesn't particularly struggle in the process. And so it's like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to think of him. I think that he's cool, but I don't think that he's anything besides cool.
Like, he makes Goku look like a stellar character. Like,
Oh, you're gonna piss someone off with that.
I'm just saying, like, Goku, what does Goku do? I like to fight, so I get stronger. And why do I get stronger? So I can fight some more. But even Goku takes the occasional L. Even Goku has to struggle through his fights. After the very first episode, Jinwoo just starts to just fly through fights. If he struggles, it's because he's choosing not to use his full power. And
he rarely really chooses not to.
I liked Soul Leveling, don't get me wrong. It's just, if we're talking characters, there's no way Jinwoo should have won this.
I think that, like, the best I can say about Jinwoo as best main character is he does a good job of being a main character in a power fantasy anime. Like,
he's not even the best main character in a power fantasy anime.
That's true. I think that I've seen much funnier and like better ones.
The Irregular Magical High School, Sword Art Online. Anos. What was that name of that anime?
That was also like, it sounded similar to the Irregular Magical High School.
Yeah, it was one of those types of names. The Demon
he was more
King,
funny.
so and so and so and so.
Like I found like that anime made him more charming because he's like, he knows he's overpowered, but like chooses to kind of just entertain everything.
He has a sense of humor. Jinwoo probably could have a sense of humor, but the people writing him have not bothered to ever give him a reason to really laugh or tell a joke.
Yeah, Kafka Hibino is basically like, he literally like, he's a normal guy and he's kind of over the hill, but he doesn't give up, and like he wants to be as accomplished as his childhood friend, and he has to keep a secret, and he also kind of becomes a sort of like a dad figure to some of the other people. It's very cool. I feel
so strongly about Kafka Hibino as a character because when the Kaiju number 8 manga came out, I was approaching my 30s and I was starting to feel anxious about aging, about no longer just being young anymore. No, I was becoming a big bro, not nunk, becoming a big bro. And reading Kaiju number 8, this guy who is, by all accounts, over the hill, past his prime. He's passed up more opportunities than what await him in the future. Still striving and reaching his goals, but not forgetting that he's still supposed to be this older figure in the lives of the people around him, even if the younger people around him are stronger and are more capable. And for me, Kafka is such a good character for me. I would have really liked to see him win this category, and I wouldn't have been mad at him losing to literally anybody else. It's just Jinwoo is so dry.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's most of the anime awards. I can't really bother to go through the rest of them because it kind of just gets more and more niche as it goes on. But you guys can check them out. It's the Crunchyroll Awards. It's obviously not sponsored. I just thought it was something cool to talk about because we're anime lovers around here. In fact, something I would like to hear from everybody who is watching and or listening, what was your anime of the year from last year? But maybe more importantly and more relevantly, what are you watching right now that you're enjoying? Because that's like, it's always the more exciting question. Like, what are you enjoying right now? I got a buddy
whose answer would be Yu Yu Hakusho because he's actually in a perpetual cycle of rewatching that anime. He never stops watching it. I think he watches it at least a few times a week.
Right now, I've been really enjoying My Hero Academia Vigilantes that's airing this season.
Oh, the Vigilantes anime is so good.
It has quickly become my favorite thing right now. I look forward to it every week. There are a lot of anime that are airing in this season that I'm enjoying, like Windbreaker, Fire Force,
Mobile Suit Gundam
G-Quux, and a few other like more just low-key ones. Kulon Generic Romance, very good. But I think that Vigilantes has been fun because it's taken the world of My Hero Academia and brought it really close to the ground and just given more of a perspective on like what that world is kind of like to live in for the normal people or the people who aren't like, trained to be super powerful heroes or have like OP quirks. It's kind of more like people who have like, the main character's got a mobility quirk. He's not super strong. All Might has not entrusted the power to blow up the planet and save the world to him and all of that. He's a college guy. He improves his quirk and gets more capable. And, and he's like got two people around him who they can like, Knuckle Duster can fight, Pop Step can leap. And they're doing their best. And like, I think that it's more endearing in a way.
It's kind of like if My Hero is a story about a boy who becomes Superman, then Vigilante is a story about a boy who becomes as close to Batman as he can. He's not going to quite get there. But
I would almost say like he feels like he's just going to become like he'd just be someone's sidekick and that'd be okay.
Yeah.
Like Koichi's,
like it feels like, someone like Eraserhead would be considered like an apex hero in the world of vigilantes. When we know in My Hero proper, All Might's the guy. That's the level of power we expect in the proper series. But in the vigilantes, their problems aren't nearly as world ending.
Yeah, so that's one I've been enjoying. What about you? Anything? It didn't have to be this season, but just something recent.
This season, like Vigilantes would have been one of mine as well. So I'll give it to G-Quux. I'm a huge Mobile Suit Gundam fan, and G-Quux being such a drastic change in direction and style from a Gundam anime has been extremely refreshing. But at the same time, unlike something like Witch from Mercury, which was also a huge departure, this one still tries to reel in those older Gundam heads like myself by being set like adjacent to the Universal Century timeline. That's the original Mobile Suit Gundam timeline, having so many references and Easter eggs for people who enjoyed those older works. And I don't know. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed a Gundam series this much. I enjoy pretty much all of them, but G-Quux is really something special. It just is. Yeah,
that's kind of what we've been liking. Let us know if you guys would want us to maybe talk a little bit more about anime on this podcast. We like mostly avoid it because I just know like anime can be very like fandom-y and gatekeepy.
And we would only have trash takes, and I want to say someone might have stolen our idea for that podcast already.
Trash takes, almost like trash tastes, but I don't know what that is because there's no other podcast that
we're
exists.
the only one.
So but we have a lot of anime opinions actually. Like sometimes I feel like I was doing that video with Alex the other day where we had a little segment where we're like picking like would you stop playing video games, would you stop reading, would you stop watching anime or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it made me realize like I have a lot to just say about anime like these days. So
maybe you can start like a video essay channel, and like you can like do it in like I don't know, like your dad's basement or something.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Anyway, though, that's some of the anime that we're enjoying right now. A couple of quick little like updatey, announcement-y news-ish stuff before we get into the questions, I guess.
Sure.
First of all, Pokemon Legends Z to A. And the Nintendo Switch 2 version of that game, which I guess are listed as separate games.
The only reason I'm getting a Switch 2.
They have a release date now. I didn't know that they didn't have a release date. I thought that they did for some reason.
I figured it was in the fall. Is it not?
It's in the fall. It's October 16th, 2025.
Okay.
With pre-orders actually beginning next week on June 5th.
I can't afford it yet.
There's a new Pokemon Presents presentation that's also set for July 22nd, which will just give the latest news and updates from the world of Pokemon. Which could be, I'm assuming, much more on these games, but also might be more on that game like Pokemon Champions and
I forgot about that.
Some of the other stuff that's been announced. So that would be quite nice. Players who buy either the physical or digital version of Pokemon Legends Z to A for Nintendo Switch get the option to upgrade to the Switch 2 edition by buying a $10 upgrade pack from the eShop, which will offer improved graphics and frame rates.
So, okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So, if I don't want to buy a Switch 2,
correct,
I could buy Z to A for the Switch 1.
Yeah.
And when I eventually get a Switch 2, I can spend an extra $10 to upgrade my game to Switch 2 version.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a serious question. How is there a Switch 1 and Switch 2 version for a game when the Switch 2 can already play Switch 1 games? So shouldn't any game that you can play on the Switch just be better on the... I'm confused.
I mean, I guess I'll say this. I guess just don't overthink it. Like, I think what it is like they have developed this game and the architecture between these two consoles isn't fundamentally different. So really what's happening is it's just the same game. It's just some sliders are turned down for the Switch version. And they're aware, like sliders as in like graphics and shaders and shadows and stuff, anti-aliasing. And they're aware that what we talked about when we talked about the Switch 2 is like there are a lot of kids who are not getting a Switch 2 on release day and probably aren't getting one until Christmas even, maybe. But they want the new Pokemon game and they have a Switch 1 that their parents got them in 2018. So I think that the idea for Nintendo is what they're offering is you buy your kid the Pokemon game when it comes out because they already have a Switch and they want to play the new Pokemon game. And then when Christmas rolls around and you buy them that Switch 2, that's like $450, then an extra $10 will just let them upgrade their game to the Switch 2 and they'll be happy.
So I still have an issue here. It's a digital game.
Yeah, and they could just upgrade your performance for you regardless because like what should it really... Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
They just want your money.
Because Pokemon Z to A, when you buy it, you should get a license to play that game from Nintendo eShop. The type of system you use shouldn't matter as long as it's compatible with the game. The fact that I was going to say, well, maybe there's just two versions of the game, one for each, but the fact that you can buy an upgrade pack, which is essentially just a code that will unlock settings in the game you've already purchased, okay. I would only find this even remotely acceptable if the Switch 1 version is cheaper than the Switch 2 version.
Presumably it is.
It better be. Because I can't wrap my head around this
I don't
system.
see prices, which is concerning.
But
But
I really don't think someone should have to pay more. I paid more by buying the Switch 2. Why am I paying another $10 on top of that?
Yeah, I know. It's just...
I got
No, go off.
And so if I buy Z to A for the Switch 1, then I buy a Switch 2, does it just stop working now?
Well, no, actually. So what's kind of weird to me is look at the camera, let them know like your thoughts. You can... It does seem scammy when you put it this way. You can play your Switch 1 version of this game on a Switch 2, but it will still be locked at that lower resolution and frame rate. Because that is just what the Switch 1 version runs
Even though I paid them for a license to play the game.
That's right. $10 more, you can get the new version, which is really just some sliders moved up.
Ooh, Nintendo on that. Boy.
Yeah, it's rough.
Jeez.
I mean, for what it's worth, this isn't... Like, they've been doing this with, like, PS4 to 5 games, I think. Like, they have, like, their next-gen patches, but I think in most cases those are free. I think.
I've never paid for one, but
games.
But I don't know if I've never really been in that situation before. If I didn't have a PS5, I just didn't play any games where I need to upgrade them to PS5. I just played my PS4 games until I had a PS5. Then I just didn't play on PS5.
Well, that's Pokemon Legends Z to A. I will say one last quick thing about it.
I gotta say.
So here's the Nintendo Switch box art. It's very cool. It's got, like, I guess their trainers.
Oh, there's a Totodile on there.
Totodile and the Tepig and Chikorita.
I don't care about the other two.
Well, anyway, what I was going to point out is that the Switch 2 case is just uglier. Because this giant fucking, red block at the top of it, it just cuts into more of the art. Like, in this case, it's not too bad because, like, the art's just the night sky.
Is the box bigger or is the little
the boxes,
card
I believe,
insert
are the same
smaller?
size. I believe the boxes are the same size.
What was the point of doing that? Oh, I guess this is to differentiate between
they
Switch
have to
1 and Switch 2.
make it, I guess, very blatantly obvious for parents.
But if you're just buying a code, since that's 90% of game buying anyway, because they have to separate them so that you know that you have to upgrade your Switch 1 version.
It's got to be easy for mom and dad.
Ooh, boy. Nintendo, they making my list right now. I'm not.
It's not great.
I'm not happy.
I I think
They lucky I'm too addicted to like do anything about it, because I am gonna get Pokemon Z-Day, but I'm definitely not getting the Switch 2 version. I'm gonna get the Switch 1 version, and I'm never gonna upgrade it.
well, anywho, here's a quick little Marvel announcement. I say announcement, it's a delay. Marvel Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are each delayed by 7 months.
7 months is a huge delay.
So you might have remembered before that Avengers Doomsday, which is going to feature Robert Downey Jr. as the villainous Victor Von Doom, is going to be pushed into next year's holiday season, and it will arrive on December 18th, 2026, a little more than 7 months from its intended launch date of May 1st, 2026. And likewise, Avengers Secret Wars will be taken off its initial spring showcase of May 7th, 2027, and given a frosty drop date of December 17th, 2027. So basically, yeah, they both went from next 2 summers movies to the next 2 winters movies.
Okay, 7 months of a delay seems like a whole lot. It feels like they didn't properly plan their initial like date, because 6 months is a huge like gap of time. Mm-hmm. I feel like they just kind of threw out a date just so they could have something to announce, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll just figure out the real date later." And it turns out, oh yeah, looks like we won't have these out anytime near then. So 6 month delay.
Yeah. It's Marvel.
Maybe they have their scheduling down.
I mean, I know that they've been saying they're like bringing down the amount of movies that they're going to be releasing every year and the amount of shows. They're trying to like pull the volume of it down so they can focus on like quality over quantity and all that stuff. Good for them. When I heard they were announcing like Doomsday for like May 2026, I was like, there's no fucking way. Because that movie has so many actors in it and so many like, characters and plot lines and stuff. And they were saying like how they were starting filming like this month or whatever, like in May. And I was just like, I just don't know if they're going to have this movie done in time. Because for most movies, that wouldn't be such a unreasonable ask. Like typically shooting for a movie might take like 3 months. And then, just post-production and editing and stuff might be about 6 months. And the movie would come out basically about 9 months after that. But Avengers movies are different.
Yeah.
They're huge. There's so many actors, so many stories, VFX. And then also it's like modern Marvel where everything gets reshoots and they tweak the story 2 days before it's in the theater and blah, blah, blah. So like, yeah, I'm not surprised to hear this.
That actually reminded me of a headline I saw. I don't have a story for it, but they said the Thunderbolts movie is set to lose. What was that number? Like 100 million?
Oh, like it's not going to make up its...
Yeah, it's not going to make up its budget.
And at least from its theatrical run? Interesting.
Yeah.
I remember it did really well in the numbers.
At least I figured it did, but you know what? Let me...
Yeah, you might be able to find like exactly what that is, but I remember, we talked a little bit about Thunderbolts. I liked it. I thought it did well.
Okay, here we go. Thunderbolts set to lose 100 million, becomes second worst MCU performer.
Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't sound right, does it?
That sounds weird.
It says, as of May 26th, Thunderbolts has earned 174 million domestically and 181 internationally for a total of 355 million.
Okay.
These numbers seem respectable, but their break-even point was 500 million. So they actually will lose, despite what I could tell of being like fairly well received, but I guess the budget was just too high to clear.
That's unfortunate. I'll just say this though. I thought that Thunderbolts was a good movie, and I'm going to be completely honest. At this point, that's all I really care about with some of these Marvel things. Like, I think they should still be commended for Thunderbolts being a good movie, regardless of whether or not it hit that metric, because that was the best Marvel thing I've seen in a minute. And
I stand by it being my second favorite MCU movie ever. I just worry about things like this because like that could send a sign to executives like, oh, he didn't make its money back. Maybe the whole thing was bad and we should start over and make something even worse next time.
Please don't. Well, here's something I'll say about these Doomsday delays and I guess Secret Wars. I don't know shit about Secret Wars, but Doomsday was going to be coming out next May. Was the original intent. And then like Spider-Man Brand New Day was going to be coming out like in July. So it's going to be 2 Marvel movies in the summer basically.
Right.
And I think that it's actually better to have them split up like this because it allows them to have like a strong summer movie and then a strong winter movie. And they're not too close. And so that's kind of nice. I mean, you know.
I honestly forgot all about Spider-Man Brand New Day.
We don't really know that much about it other than that that's the name and the date.
We know it's happening.
Yeah, no trailers, no real information. Plenty of rumors and reports. Someone said the Hulk's going to be in it. Who knows if that's true. But
it makes sense to me since they can't make a Hulk movie. Might as well put him in everybody else's.
Yeah, and then as for Secret Wars getting delayed, that's good. I mean, it sounds like Doomsday is going to lead into Secret Wars similarly to how like Infinity War led into Endgame.
Almost perfectly.
It's almost like they're trying to just repeat that and make lightning strike twice.
It can't do that, Marvel. I keep trying to tell you. Even Storm can't make lightning hit the same place twice. Okay, she can, but she shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, so that's cool. I mean, you know, as an MCU guy...
Paul's our resident MCU head. Well, no, that's still Chris. Chris has an incredible
Chris knows his
amount
MCU.
of trivia about the MCU.
Well, here's a last little thing, I think. Harry, Hermione, and Ron have been cast for HBO's Harry Potter. This casting announcement came out yesterday, at least when we were recording this. But they say after tens of thousands of auditions, 3 newcomers were selected to play the television show's leading roles. For those who don't know, HBO is rebooting the Harry Potter series. It's going to be kind of like a Game of Thrones-y thing where I guess it's going to be split into seasons. It's going to be more book faithful, they say.
With the DEI cast.
Totally new cast and all that stuff. And yeah, some people might have accused it of being a DEI Harry Potter. But anyway, the newcomers Dominic McLaughlin, Arabella Stanton, and Alistair Stout are going to play Harry, Hermione, and Ron respectively. There's a picture of them, and the internet is alight with opinions. So
how old are these children?
Here they all are. My understanding is that she is 10, the Harry actor is 11, and I think the Ron actor is 10 or 11.
Are we criticizing children that are sub 13 years old?
It's interesting because people...
Are we really doing that?
People fucking are. I have read comments about this. You know, I'm a Harry Potter fan. I have mixed thoughts on whether or not they needed to even do a reboot to begin with. I feel like it's a little too early to like be rebooting Harry Potter because it doesn't feel retro quite yet. So I understand like where people are coming from that like they feel like it's just a cash grab or whatever. But there are people in these comments of like these posts. The official HBO Max like announcement of it had to turn off comments.
Oh Lord.
And so did like a lot of the Twitter accounts like discussing film because just people have the worst things to say about how these kids look, the rest of the cast and the production, J.K. Rowling things. It's noisy. It's noisy. I just really hope that they leave the kids out of it.
Too late.
And unfortunately, yeah, you're right. Too late. They've literally already said some vile things. But yeah, that's all I can say is like, I know that you can like something or dislike something or whatever, but like, please leave the innocent kids out of it. They don't deserve any of this.
Look, at least wait until they're 14 before you criticize them the hell and back. Let them get to an age where it can really traumatize them. I'm joking.
Let them have a Reddit account.
No, like I think it's stupid to go around criticizing the appearance and maybe like the history of these literal children because, well, they can only be so good at acting at the ages of like 10, 11, and 12. They can't look how you want them to look because they can only look how God put them on this earth to look. They can't really control how you think the characters should look. All they can do is try to give the best performance that they can and interpret the characters in the best ways that they can. They cannot be the Ron, Hermione, and Harry that we had. They cannot remake that series as it was.
Yeah, I think that there's this weird thing on the internet too of like this defensiveness around like, you know, not my insert character, like that whole thing.
The not my.
As you know, like there's like that's not my Harry, Ron, Hermione. Good for you.
Because they're not.
Like, they're not that. Like, and that's okay. I know that this is a show where like cynically speaking, it's probably just some HBO cash grab. Whatever. But
all right, don't do that. Because HBO made Game of Thrones, and that wasn't a cash grab until the 7th through whatever seasons.
What about like House of the Dragon? I always thought that was like a cash grab.
Did you see House of the Dragon?
No, I didn't.
So you can't say nothing.
But anyway, the point is...
it was kind of a cash grab, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, you know, like this is kind of just to get a new generation of kids into Harry Potter, I think. And it'll probably succeed at that. It'll make kids want to buy more wands and merch and go to the Harry Potter world and blah, blah, blah.
The fact of the matter is, as long as like, because like it doesn't actually matter how you feel about the old Harry Potter, the creator of Harry Potter, any of it. Because this is a specific work made by a specific team. If they do a good job, it'll be successful, and if they don't, then it won't be successful. But it actually doesn't matter how you feel about the old Harry Potter or their relationship to it. This show could be perfectly fine, or it could not be.
Yeah, it's just I think people have such a tough time separating themselves from nostalgia, and then you get into that internet thing where like everyone kind of feels like they have to just share what they think. And then don't worry, the irony is not lost on me. I know I'm sitting here on a podcast, you know, sharing what I think, but I guess
I had a joke for that.
Oh, well. Sorry.
Oh well, I'll get it next time.
But what I was gonna say is just like I don't know. I think if you don't like something's existence, it seems like the internet has lost its selection bias for being like an ass about that.
You can be just willfully ignorant about the things you don't like, and that's a way to approach life. If you don't like something, just pretend you don't know about it.
Yeah, like I don't know. That's kind of what I've said. It's like if you don't like this, then don't watch it. But there's this urge I think people have, and this happens with Marvel and games and everything else, is like I have to say that I'm not going to be watching it, that it's going to suck, and like this is a bad idea. It's like if you think it's going to suck and you think it's a bad idea, why are you commenting on it then? Like, why are you like afraid it's going to do well and that's going to prove you wrong? And so you need to like spread a little like dissent in the hopes that it makes more people hate it. I'm not really sure. So, I don't know. I mean, I'll be watching it. I like Harry Potter, so.
And, you know,
keep the kids safe.
If I have HBO Max, I'll probably watch it when it comes out. And if I don't, I won't watch it. It's just a simple matter of whether or not I'll have the streaming platform.
Yeah. So, cool. Those are our announcements. It's now time to do a little bit of pot with some viewer questions.
Time for a potty break.
Woo! So we just descended that low. Yeah. So cool. We've got questions submitted by you guys to answer this week. 2 viewer questions. Next week, I think, is probably going to be our Emptying the Pot episode that we've been alluding to, where we will answer many viewer questions for an entire episode. And then the week after that, if all goes as planned, we should have a very special guest on the podcast who I think you'll like if you're a TCG sort of person.
I'll take the first question so you can read the longer one.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate that.
As a Magic player wanting to start and learn Yu-Gi-Oh and play at my LGS, do you have any tips on how to get started and make it seem less scary? And are there any products you recommend to make it easier to keep track of stuff, like get the specific Yu-Gi-Oh dice or a specific calculator? All right, this is cool. So we don't have too many questions about someone trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh from like another card game.
Yeah. I think what comes to mind for you? Like Magic to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like Magic to Yu-Gi-Oh. Like the games could not be more different at this stage. So, and this is a boring answer. I highly recommend you grab 3 copies of the Blue Eyes structure deck. I just think because Yu-Gi-Oh it's hard to find a deck that's cheap and effective and good to learn with all at once. There are a million cheap decks you can build, and then you get crushed so badly at locals you end up wanting to quit soon after. Or you can get a competent deck, and then once you're out, 350, now you can start learning to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
350 might be generous.
I mean, hopefully they're not springing for everything. But so that's why I just feel like as far as like a starter product, most people like Blue Eyes. Even if you're like more mixed on Blue Eyes, it's a solid enough deck at that price point where you can quickly learn how to start holding your own against more seasoned players because the deck is just solid.
Yeah, I was going to also add, I think that you kind of have two choices with how do you want to like jump into the deep end and grab a combo deck? There are plenty of those. I tend to recommend, I think if you're coming from Magic, it might be good to start with something that's like slower pace, like more of a control deck. And so as of late, I think that that would basically be like maybe Voiceless Voice is kind of a pretty strong recent one. It's a control deck. It's kind of mid-rangey. It has a simple game plan. It sets up fast, and you'll be doing a lot of the same simple maneuvers over and over. And so you can learn the game that way pretty well. I think if we were, looking a couple years back, that equivalent might have been a deck like Eldritch or a deck like,
Good old Eldritch.
Trap Tricks, Labyrinth. I even think like Fire King can be a pretty good one. And technically Blue Eyes is pretty mid-range actually with how it worked right now. You'd think it'd be more beat-downy.
I mean, it's a mix of
it's like a mix.
Aggro, control. It's a really solid strategy. And we're just talking like deck choices. Like getting into Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time, I mean, because of the Yu-Gi-Oh Neuron app, you don't necessarily need to have dice to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing with Yu-Gi-Oh is it actually tends to need dice less than Magic. Like, I mean, Magic doesn't even necessitate that you have dice, but I know a lot of people use them for
when you get a lot of them tokens on board.
And counters and all that stuff.
Sometimes you just need to use dice.
So actually, that's always one of the weird things with Magic to me is like those like artifacts and stuff that will make so many tokens, and people will just be like, yeah, like I've got like 10, and I'm just like, there's like 10 tokens on their field.
It happens, because there are whole token-based strategies, and yes, there are token cards, but you'll find most of the time you just do not have enough of the physical token cards for the amount of tokens you can make, especially with cards doubling season running around.
Yeah, I know. Ugh. As for like making Yu-Gi-Oh seem less scary, I mean, like I said, I think a mid-rangey control decks are kind of a good way to like keep the game's pace feeling slow.
Get familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh Neuron.
I think
it just makes things a little bit simpler.
Yeah, Neuron as an app is a nice thing to have. I feel like there's something.
I'm trying to, cause see, I think one scary part about Yu-Gi-Oh is the best of 3 siding part of the game. I'm trying to think, how do you like hold someone's hand into like getting used to the siding process, how to adjust your deck, but we don't really have a product for that.
Yeah, nothing really helps with that. I think that something I would say is like, depending on your experience level with Magic, what could be really helpful is like and I've been kind of doing this with Yu-Gi-Oh myself lately, and it helps a little bit, is just categorize decks as like, this is the crazy thing that's going to combo a lot. This is the thing that's trying to like control. And just instead of trying to like learn the nuances of every single deck that you face off against or learn or whatever, just be like, okay, this is a fast deck. This is like a more slow deck.
You're talking about your opponents,
like your opponents.
Play against
because I think that's kind of like I'm approaching it like that because like I know that what makes Yu-Gi-Oh intimidating is just the variety of things that you'll face, and like they'll follow so many different mechanics, and their combos are so long, and you feel like you're not like stopping the right thing. I think when I simplify decks down into like they're just going to combo, it makes it easier for me to just not worry myself so much about feeling I need to read every single card they do. Like you should eventually read those cards, but like when it's happening, that tends to help.
But how can you like play against a combo deck that you've never played against before?
So, just a few quick tidbits. If they normal summon a monster that says like when this card is summoned, it adds this to hand, or it summons this from deck, that's like a card you should probably be using Ash Blossom or Imperm on. And if you started Yu-Gi-Oh, you've probably heard like hand traps are necessities, and you've probably stuffed a few of the staple ones in your deck, right? Imperm, Ash,
at least Ash,
maybe a couple Veilers, something like that, whatever. And sometimes people don't really know like what to Ash and what to Veiler and all that. That's like my baseline rule is just like if there's a monster that says that it does that, that's a great Imperm target. And if there's a spell that summons something from deck, that's a good Ash target. Like, just follow those baseline rules. It will get you at least most of the way there. Mm-hmm. And it's so contextual and like whatever matchup based. But at least like that way you can just realize, yes, this deck can combo and go nuts. But if I want to stop it, this is probably the point I need to stop it, is that committed normal summon that like starts something out, or that emergency teleport-esque spell that sort of says like summon a insert archetype thing from the deck, or like whatever. So those, like, that's kind of how I view it. I try to just like simplify things. I don't think it's worth like getting into the nitty gritty of all of it on the surface. And there's not really any accessories that Yu-Gi-Oh necessitates.
I mean, just get some sleeves and a play mat.
Yeah,
if it's coming from Magic, I'm sure you have a play mat. Then you just gotta make sure you have Japanese size sleeves, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, like there's not really any specific dice. There's not like a specific calculator. Neuron can really do your calculations for you. If you're like just playing at locals or with your friends, it is an amazing mobile app, Yu-Gi-Oh Neuron. And that's pretty much it. I guess there's probably videos that are kind of good, better references, like how to go from Magic to Yu-Gi-Oh or something. But
that's true. There's probably some good YouTube tutorial videos. I have not watched one in forever, so I don't know what to recommend.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing that I'll add on that whole like how to stop combo decks with hand traps. I think the equivalent to that with control decks. If you're playing a deck that seems like it sets a lot of back row or puts up a lot of back row, run evenly matched or lightning storm and just call it a day. Like those are like the equivalents of it. Like if it looks like a lot of stuff goes in the back row, then that's where lightning storm comes in. Just hit the back row, and kind of figure it out from there. Okay, my question is, do you guys think that Yu-Gi-Oh should move to a secret layer type product? Wow, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh X Magic today. Move to a secret layer type product for booster boxes, where you can get every single card from a set and any rarity you prefer. Commons would be the cheapest box, and then up to secrets. No QCR or anything blingy like that guaranteed. That's still randomly seated in your packs, maybe even in a common box. Would this help people getting the cards cheaper, and this would help people get the cards cheaper and would guarantee you one copy each? And if you wanted to, you can still buy 3 of the boxes to get the entire archetype. Love the pod. Hope this helps. This makes into an episode. 5 stars. My name is Saphira, and it's okay if you pronounce it funny. Heart.
Wait, I want to try and pronounce it funny. Let me see. Sapphira.
Sapphira.
There it is.
Thank you for the question.
Sapphira.
Very poignant. This is an interesting one. So, Yu-Gi-Oh, if it did a secret layer, remind me, secret layers, it's like a guaranteed set of cards, correct?
Yeah. When you order a secret layer, while they're typically for a limited time, you know exactly what you're ordering, and you get to pick what foiling you want.
All right.
They have like
I didn't know that.
Foil, and they have non-foil versions. Typically, the non-foil versions are cheaper. So you want to save a little bit of money. You can always get those, and you only get like one copy of each card, which in Magic isn't a big deal. If you're playing Commanders, you're going to run one copy of each card. But for Yu-Gi-Oh, we like our 3 of. So essentially, you could just opt to get 3 sets of everything. The set to get 3 copies of everything. That would be very efficient and economical.
People have
for
raised
the player.
This idea kind of in the past. I don't hate it. I think Konami hates it.
Yeah, I think players. I don't think you'd find many players who would hate it. People who are addicted to opening booster packs, they might hate that. But otherwise, I think for the players, it's great.
Konami has done this in the past. Obviously, structure decks are technically an example of that. But things like Duel Devastator, these sets where you got a guaranteed set of like 40 just kind of good stuff cards. The problem I think that comes up is Konami wants a gacha system. They want you to have to just buy the packs and pull the cards because you'll spend more that way, theoretically anyway. I noticed, though, that in this question, Saphira mentions that they could still randomly seed in things like, the blingy stuff, QCR, Starlight, or whatever. And that would still kind of provide an RNG element. So, like, those rarities or cards would still be worth more. So if you're that sort of person who wants to push harder for like the blingy stuff, the shiny stuff, you could do it. But then also that they could even theoretically come in a common box, they mentioned. So
I guess the question I would have, I think, or what maybe the most important distinction we would have to make for this system, how much would each of these secret layer style packages cost?
Well, can you start by telling me how much currently does a secret layer cost and how many cards are in that?
Oh man, that
like roughly
ranges pretty strong. It really depends on the secret layer.
Yeah, I gotta have like Larry or
And
Chris
then
here.
they have different prices depending on like
On the rarity?
yeah, they have different prices depending on the rarity. And not all secret layers have the same amount of cards.
Oh goodness, okay.
Yeah, and it's hard to actually look that up since you can only see current secret layer prices, or if you can find an old article when they're announced. Otherwise, you see aftermarket prices, which are not at all accurate.
Okay, so I see Secret Lair Marvel Super Drop, non-foil $39.99, rainbow foil $49.99. This is the first thing that showed up on a little search, and I'm sure that there's maybe one that's. Oh my goodness!
I'm looking at this Hatsune Miku Secret Lair. The foil edition is $40.
Oh wait, this is like 6 cards.
Yes,
6.
Yeah, it's not many.
6 cards?
6 cards, yeah.
Oh my god.
But it's 6 very, very limited release cards with unique artwork and styling.
Oh, okay. So this changes things. I thought that this was like these secret layers were like maybe like 40 or 50 cards, and like you were maybe paying like $60 or something for them.
That's insane.
So it's like 6 cards for, oh my god. Okay.
Well, secret layers, these are supposed to be like collectibles.
They're collectible kind of
what
cards.
we're talking about is a bit more expanded. We're talking about the entirety of a Yu-Gi-Oh set. So it's not an apples to apples comparison.
All right. Well, with that in mind, we're gonna make up some prices for the sake of this discussion.
Okay.
So you get a normal set of like Duelist Advance or whatever Alliance Insight is like 100 cards in it. So we're gonna assume you get all 100 of these cards, and we'll say it's like if you want the all common bundle, it's $60.
$60 for one card of every set. You think that's
like $50 maybe? I mean, because I'm just basing this off of how like Wizards is pricing things, where it's like 40 for 6 cards and then 50 for 6 shiny cards.
See,
but these are not exclusive and these are not collabs or whatever. They're just the cards in the set. I think like 100 cards for like $50, like maybe that's.
I mean, but we're comparing it to how Wizards would price it, but I think we should compare it to how Konami already prices their products.
Okay.
Since there'll be a certain loss taken.
Here's something then.
Okay.
Well, you finished first.
Oh no, that was just the lead you into.
Duel Devastator was $30 if I'm remembering correctly, and that gave you 40 cards, I think.
Okay.
So I would imagine. No, in that case, those were all ultras. So maybe if those were to be all commons, it might be cheaper. Like I said, a 40. Or let me double check that. Actually, I just want to make sure of how much Duel Devastator cost. Oh, it was $40. Okay, I thought it was $30. Okay, it was a 56 card set with $40. It was $40 for these 56 cards in this kind of fancy little box, and you got like 1 or 2 promos as well. Well, anyway, So if a new set came out and it's 100 cards, then I imagine it would be $80.
$80 for one?
$80 for a box that says Duelist Advance or whatever.
And it has one of every card.
It has one of every card, and they're all ultra rare.
I could.
Yes, no?
I feel like I could see that, right? I mean,
and to be clear,
again,
I want to say I'm not pricing I'm pulling this price from like what we were saying. This is just past Konami examples. Like I'm not saying that that's like a good or bad price. That I'd like it to be cheaper, but I think that realistically, this is probably what they would sell it for.
Because Konami wouldn't want to do this in a way that they would take a loss. If the average Yu-Gi-Oh player is expected to buy, let's say, maybe 2 boxes of the set when it releases, and MSRP on a box is,
we said like 80.
80.
We said $80 for this 100 card set.
I mean, in real life, right?
Oh,
now.
Currently it's technically
MSRP,
$90. It's like $100 flat.
$100 flat
for a 24-pack box.
And if you wanted to pull all the cards you need, I imagine you would need to pull more than 3 boxes. So I feel like Konami might view this as a loss.
I get what you're saying. So the math here is that today, buying 3 boxes will not get you 3 of everything. Mm-hmm. You'll probably have to buy basically 12 boxes
You
to
gotta
maybe
work
get
towards
that,
a
let's
case.
say. Basically a case. And so Konami would view like making it easier for you to get these guaranteed cards as not very good. I would argue one thing though in the favor of this idea.
What's that?
Even for Konami is, and I don't have any sales data to back this up. This is all vibes, bro.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
here's what I'm thinking. You can say that they might view this as like a bad proposition because like we'd rather have Alec buy a bunch of boxes and try and fail and eventually maybe get everything through statistics. But would Alec even bother in the first place? Like, were you realistically, who's buying that many boxes, like what normal players are?
Nobody,
It's just your
just
vendors
vendors.
and like some content creators. But I think like a normal player could conceivably buy 3 of this $80 thing if it means you are getting 3 Mulch Armies, 3 Dominus like Impulse, 3 Engraver, 3 Tracked, like with I'm just examples of like cards like that, plus 3 of just all other archetypes and cards. I think that it is easier to convert a consumer to spend $240 total on this hypothetical product,
Right.
that gives them 3 of everything, maybe even the chance of a few QCRs or whatever, Starlights, as opposed to expecting them to actually realistically buy 6 to 12 boxes.
Now, I do agree with that.
That's all vibes, though.
But what if Konami does not view the individual player as their target consumer and in fact looks at vendors as their target consumer? I feel like this
changes
secret layer
everything.
system is not to the benefit of vendor types.
It's really not, because I guess for them, like once those, because what's probably going to happen, at least as I'm imagining, is once that stuff's opened, those cards ain't going to be worth, like a lot of that stuff's not really going to be worth a bunch. Maybe, I don't know.
Because like it's likely so many players will already have exactly what they need. Demand wouldn't be very high.
You're right. Like a product like this, I didn't expect to get this deep into this question. Good job, Zafira. Good question. Is like the existence of this product, this system of getting cards, kind of, from what you're saying, and I believe it, kind of destroys the need for vendors. Because it's just so guaranteed at some point. Like, it doesn't destroy the need to just maybe I just want to buy a single of a card or whatever I needed in a moment's notice. But, like, generally speaking, the fact that you can just guarantee that you will just have everything through this product means that I think there would just be less need for vendors. Like, there'd be a need for them in a general sense, but, like, just not as much.
Not nearly as much of a need. And if Konami views vendors as their like primary customer, and they likely do, since nobody spends more on sealed product than vendors do.
Yeah, like little card shops and vendors.
We would be proposing an idea that will completely flip Konami's entire like marketing, sales, everything. Everything just changes for them. So it feels like this is something Konami just really would, even if it might in the long term be to their benefit, and I think it would just change so much that they'd be terrified to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Konami we know where they don't take risks or make changes ever anyway. But like, what? I guess I just like the idea of not having a pack. Like, would there just not be any packs, or would they just not like? Because
I
something
still
about that
think
feels so vital to the card game experience, like a pack on a shelf.
I think they could still do blisters with a system like this, but I think it will be in a much more limited capacity than how we do now. Blisters are tied to booster boxes inherently in Yu-Gi-Oh, unless they're on like store shelves, but for the most part they're tied to a box. I think in this secret layer style Yu-Gi-Oh product cycle, blisters would just exist to be on store shelves, and as most of us would probably just ignore them.
Yeah,
because we would just get the secret layer style drops. Hopefully they wouldn't be like a limited release.
That's the last scary part. How available are they?
if we're doing this, they would have to go out of print at some point.
Yeah, because that would make it where like I do think fewer would be printed, and there might be like a bit of fear around like how many get printed, like what is the nature by which you buy them? Like, is it just okay? Konami is still allocating this hypothetical Secret Layers product to card shops, and then the card shops are selling it, or is it like okay, you got to like fight to get on a website?
Could be a bit of a mess.
Because if it's, that's the case.
Konami is more than capable of fulfilling orders at this scale because they already bloat the system with more cards than even that. Like, gotta understand, Konami prints more wasted cards than real players could ever actually want. So I think it's entirely possible that they can meet the demand of players in a print to order system. It's just deciding how that system is run and how you democratize it. Do you burn all the card shops by cutting them out of it? Or do you use the card shops as kind of like this middleman hub where the card shops are actually taking in the orders, and then you just send all the orders to like the local LGS? Maybe you cut them in because they're doing a part of the like ordering and dissemination of the products, maybe, or you cut them out entirely. I think isn't that what Pokemon does with some of their products, where you order directly from the Pokemon company and it comes to your house?
There's the opportunity to do that, but I know that they're also just. Actually, I can't even speak on it. I don't know enough about Pokemon.
I say, there's a lot of room for this to get like really interesting, but like some people are gonna get hurt.
Someone's getting burned. Like, because I think the scariest scenario is that basically they say, all right, fine, you get your fucking little impulse and your engravers and all this fun stuff, but like also this is sold for like a month and like that's it and it's gone forever. Or maybe even in the worst case scenario, you fight to get in the little queue on the computer, and like if you don't get it, you're just done. And like if you're one of the people who doesn't make that immediate purchase, then maybe you're at the mercy of packs later.
I do think the second market could become treacherous if for some reason Konami cannot meet the demand of the player base. Let's say 300,000 people order a new set or want to order a new set, but Konami basically only has slots for 100,000. That's treacherous water.
Yeah, there's a lot of scalping.
That would be bad.
Well,
but it's definitely something to think about.
It's a good concept. I think the question's good. I mean, on paper, it sounds like a good idea. Like many things, it's down to execution.
I still think it's worth trying.
What do you guys think about it? Inquiring minds would like to know.
If it doesn't work out, we just play Master Duel.
That's my solution to everything. Like, if it all burns, I'll just play Master Duel until they shut that shit down. Then I'll die. All right, well, cool. Thanks for the questions. It was very fun.
Yes.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode of
The Pot of Greed.
Just a reminder, make sure that you submit your own questions down below at the link. And next week, we'll be answering quite a lot of them. And the week after that, we'll have a special guest. Make sure that if you really enjoy the podcast, you at least consider becoming a channel member.
Please.
It's a cool way to financially support the podcast because we don't have sponsors. That'll be it then, I guess.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.